What's good, everyone? Bryson Price here.
Bryson Price.
Today I'm going to be making some VaporTrap. It's kind of like Vaporwave. Got the same aesthetic going on and everything. If you've ever seen the artwork, it's crazy. Let's get right into it. This is what it sounds like.
Holy Spirit got me gassed up with the steam.
I always like to start off playing my chords and the scales of the key that I'm working in. I feel like it helps prepare me for what I'm about to play. I got the inspiration for these chords from an old song by Pretty Ricky called On the Hotline. Then I just changed up the tempo and kind of where the chords go and everything, but I use that as like my inspiration. After I laid the chords down, I had this idea to put LFO tool on the chords and give it that old school techno vibe where it's like rhythmic pulsing. The next thing I did was put the 808 in there. I routed the LFO to the master tune. And I also routed it to the distortion effects. It's triggering the drive and the mix on the distortion. I had two different sounds for the 808. I had the 808 body and then also the top end that's really distorted. So I didn't really process the bottom part too much. I heavily processed the top end. And you can see I put decapitator on there. I even put a little reverb on the top end. Then I put in an erosion effect. Took out some of the lows with Pro Q3. And then I had this hyper dimension effect. I automated the mix. And I also automated a wider plugin. Automated the amount. And I also had these little automations here with the EQ and erosion. And what you're seeing on this part is I used hard clipping to chop off the tops of the peak of the signal so that I could get the sound louder overall. Next, I added in the kicks. Threw in some hi-hats. And this was kind of interesting. What I did was I had the hi-hats automating from left to right with each hit. Next up was the snare. On this song, I basically started off with the chords was the first thing, and then the 808. I spent quite a bit of time with the 808 to get that to sound right. Then I threw in the kicks and the hi-hats, and then next I started throwing in some other top end synths. The thing that really made this specific sound was all the effects I put on it, and you can see whenever I throw on Guitar Rig, it drastically changes the sound of it. It almost gives it like a vintage guitar feel, which is what I was going for. Usually the way I like to work is I like to just add a bunch of stuff and then later I'll take it away if I have to, but I just like to stack and stack and stack until I come up with something, and then that may inspire me to go into another direction. The cool thing I did on this sound was add in that little pitch automation, a pitch down automation, and as that was happening, I also automated this erosion effect. I found this kind of interesting. I just took the basic preset when you open up Serum, and then I threw LFO Tool on there, and it gave it a really cool effect. It didn't make it sound so basic anymore, and I love that it was just a pulsing synth in the background behind those moody chords that I threw in there. So those are the synths I started with for the intro, and then I threw in this little keys sound, just made it real vibey and dreamy. Threw in another Rhodes piano. And the next thing I did was grab a sound off of my Korg Triton Extreme. The keys on this are just amazing. Really all the sounds, but the keys, they just have that vintage feel that I was going for. And then I threw this Tape Mellow-Fi effect on it, which really gave it that vintage feel. And to add a little extra grain, I threw in an erosion effect from Ableton. This next part was crazy. I took some Brazilian vocals and I chopped it up, threw it in Melodyne, changed the formants. You'll see what I did here. I love the vibe that these vocals gave the whole intro.
As mulheres e os homens no
Here I'm just moving the notes so they match the key of the song. One of the last things I like to add is a little bit of noise. It just makes it not sound so basic and gives it a cool ambience. Threw in some downer effects. After I was done with the beat, I decided to lay down some vocals.
Glory to the King. Holy Spirit got me gassed up with the steam. Glory to the King. Holy Spirit got me gassed up with the steam.
Let me give you a little bit of background about how the lyrics were written. I was at home taking care of my kids. I wasn't even supposed to be home that day, but my dad had COVID and he was supposed to take care of my children. And I just had this beat playing in the background while the kids were playing in the living room. And I was like, what is this song gonna be about? And then the lyrics just came to my mind, Glory to the King. And then, I filled in the rest, but that was the main part. Those words popped into my mind. It was just like, Glory to the King. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys for watching. The song is called Glory. The video is uploaded on YouTube. The song's out on Spotify. Make sure you check it out, and I'll catch y'all next time.